Today in the studio, I got a real treat. Jim McCarthy, Big Jim McCarthy.
Doing, buddy.
Dude, if you guys recognize his voice, it's because he's the feller that did this.
Listen up or run for cover.
Oh, yeah.
You remember how I got your attention on that?
How?
By blowing you up on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and all that stuff.
That's
and you
right.
replied back and said, hey, sold, let's do it.
Yeah, so if anybody listening wants an opening to their podcast, Big Jim McCarthy. What's your Instagram?
At Jim McCarthy VOS.
At Jim McCarthy VOS. But Jim makes a little bit of dough. He's got a business. He's an entrepreneur. He's seen some shit, but you're also helping people with podcasts, sound engineer, as far as voiceover. Like, where's the opportunity?
The opportunity for me?
For people listening.
For anybody is basically looking at podcasts. If you're thinking about starting one, then I'm typically a good guy to start with.
Why?
Because my background is a lot in radio. Right here, as a matter of fact. 4 years in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
Talk radio of all things.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
How'd that go?
It went well until we decided to move to Nashville, Tennessee. I was 8 years there with Mix 92.9 and Jack FM. You a fan of Jack? I think they had a Jack here at one.
Jack who?
Jack FM.
I don't know.
Yeah, they did.
Were you a DJ?
I was a DJ in Connecticut.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Jack FM 98.5.
I was a DJ on the home of rock and roll, I-95. 95.1, WRK.
You've definitely got the DJ voice.
So do you. You need to do voiceover.
Well, I don't know how. How would I get into voiceover work?
Similar with acting. Just getting your stuff out there, getting a demo and all that fun stuff. That's also something I do. Teach people how to do voiceover, coach them. A lot of fun stuff.
Well, let's coach me.
Coach you. We need a piece of copy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. Brad Lee, 98.5.
That's being a
time.
DJ, not a voiceover talent. Yeah.
Well, voiceover would be what? Like
voiceover
a cartoon character?
Yeah, well, that's character voices. Voiceover in general for what I do would be like car commercials, promos, things like I do for you, the podcast intros, things of that nature.
Well, don't you have to just have the voice to do it?
Not really. I think you got to be a ham. A lot of people think that it has to be the voice, right? And I'm going, yeah, that's great. You got a deep voice. It sounds like you've gargled with razor blades, but without some sort of a ham. If you don't have an actor's enthusiasm and charisma and be willing to kind of almost embarrass yourself, yeah, a good voice only goes so far.
So if there's somebody listening to this, how can they make money in the voiceover business?
What a lot of people do is they want to get into it and they go to Fiverr, Upwork, and they begin there. What I generally teach a lot of voiceover talent to do is based on the sales experience I got in the car business at one point in my life, and is how to build your business by doing prospecting, spec spots, things of that nature. Things that, you and I, our relationship began with me creating a spec. Hey, I listened to the intro of your podcast. Quite frankly, I think I can do it better. Here's how it could sound. And I got your attention.
Listen up or run for cover.
You did it all,
That's
even
right.
the sound effects.
And that's the other aspect of it. A voiceover talent in these days, you're going to increase your marketability and your ability to put yourself out there if you learn how to produce. And that's what a lot of my radio career did for me.
So what equipment does one need to make those sound effects?
Those sound effects? Those are all pre-packaged stuff that I have collected over the years.
Yeah, but you mixed it together.
Yeah. It takes an ear. It takes you just doing it over and over and over again. After 20 some odd years of doing this, I'm still learning.
So somebody can't just go make money tomorrow?
Well, they could. If you're working with a business and let's say their on-hold messaging is nothing to write home about, and you think you can do it better, then why not hit them up? Hey, who do I need to talk to that handles your IVR, your auto attendant, your messaging on hold? That's one of the techniques I always tell people. If you want to start somewhere, listen to what they're doing on hold. Your best prospecting ground is in your commercials in your local radio market. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
if you listen to the commercials, generally, if they're not agency produced, there's some guy in the radio station that's banging his head against the wall, wearing about 12 different hats, much like I was, who voices 98% of the stuff on the air. Or not, well, of the local stuff. And it's always the same guy voicing tags, doing spots for local clients, things of that nature. If there's a client that's running and you want to get into voiceover and you can produce, then hit up that client. Hey, I heard your ad on the radio. Great subject line for an email, right? Isn't that bomb worthy? Am I going to call it my own bombs?
So you live
Is that ballsy of me or what?
Dude, you live in Nashville right now.
I do.
How long have you lived there?
16 years since 05. Moved from here.
And your business is Big Dot Lighting.
That's one of the businesses that I'm a partner in. Oddly enough, went from radio to the car business, got tired of working for other people, decided to do my own thing, still do all the content creation, podcast production, voiceover and video on one hand, and then my business partner and I, along with another guy we brought on later, he was in the LED business, which I always thought at the time was a good business to get into, because as soon as he told me he was doing it, and we have been friends for a long time, instantly, as soon as he said it, I said, I can sell and I can market that. LED lighting conversions. And that's what we started in 2016 with Big Dot Lighting. Now it's become a whole other animal. That's just how businesses evolve, as you well know.
Yeah.
Because Lightspeed didn't start out that way.
So where'd you grow up, like as a kid?
Danbury, Connecticut. Danbury.
Mom and pop, Beaver Cleaver?
Yeah, I guess so.
Go to college?
It was a good upbringing. I went to Western Connecticut State University for 2 years. College and I weren't friends.
You didn't quit? You quit?
I just dropped out. It just wasn't for me. So I worked for my dad in his business.
Gotcha. And then, so when did you get in the car business?
Got into car business in 2013. Getting out of radio.
Just selling them?
Yeah.
You just went in and said, I want to sell cars.
It got to a point in radio, I had a trajectory of picking businesses that were on the decline. As we all know, radio is just kind of a commodity these days. And one of the businesses I would always consult with and do their ads for and do video for, and I became very good friends with their general manager, was a Honda dealership. So he always said, hey, whenever you're done with this thing, come on board. You can make, $120,000, $130,000 a year doing this. And, I was 37 years old. I'm like, fine, I'm kind of done with radio. Let's try that. So I got out of radio, got into the car business, and, it was one of the experiences that I realized one of the best, it was my education, one of the best experiences I've ever had. At the time, I was wondering what the hell I was doing, because I was so comfortable being in radio. But once I got out of it, my comfort zone got a lot tighter and I had to break out of it. So learning something that was way out of my comfort zone really expanded my view on life. I take everything I learned in that business with me today when I sell lighting, being here in Vegas for the car wash show, getting in front of people. And again, going back to that performance aspect of voiceover comes in very handy for me. So I can get in front of people and just kind of cut up with them and have a gift of gab, which helps.
You didn't before?
Not really. I think there wasn't much confidence there. I think car business really brought out confidence for me.
Why you think that?
Because it showed that I could do it and be pretty successful with it. And then I had a customer while I was selling for Honda tell me, hey, why aren't you selling Highline? Highline being BMW, Mercedes, Lexus, things of that nature. I said, I never saw myself like that. Every time the group that I worked for had car dealerships of all types in Nashville. A few of them being a Porsche dealership, BMW, Mercedes, things of that nature. So whenever we'd go across town to get a car to show a customer and bring it back to Honda, you'd walk into these stores and see how these guys conducted themselves and how they looked. And automatically my disposition was, I am not that guy. I don't have that kind of clout. That was my own perception. And then I had a customer. It always takes somebody looking at the outside of your bottle and telling you, no, you can do it. And this guy had no bias to me whatsoever. He was a customer of mine at Honda. He says, you can sell Highline. I'm going, you think? Yeah, give it a shot. You know what? I will. They had an opening at the Mercedes dealer. I put in for a transfer, and 2013, in the middle of the month, of all things, I made the switch and started 2014 off just learning about Mercedes and selling it and understanding that the sales process is the same no matter who you're talking to, just with a different brand. It has bigger numbers. That's all it was.
I was about to say, there's not much difference,
There
is
isn't. Not at all.
And you assumed there was.
I did. So, I
Mm.
mean, it was a massive confidence builder going, holy crap, I can do this. So, I mean, even today, I carry that, understanding that I do bring a lot of value to people I get in front of, if I can just get in front of them.
Do you think that's the hardest part?
I think a lot of it is life experience, which is what I coach to our young salesperson selling our lighting for us. He's 23 years old, great kid, but you got to get that life experience. And without it, it's tough to relate to people. You know, I would say even in leadership, if you don't have kids, it's tough to be a good leader. Would you agree?
You don't have kids?
Yeah.
No.
You don't think so?
No. Not at all.
I find it actually is very helpful because sometimes you just got to talk to people like their children.
Well, what is a leader?
A leader is, I believe in the whole servant leadership.
Yeah, but what is a leader?
Leader is somebody who who does by example to show somebody else how to go down a road.
Otherwise, they're not a leader?
I would there are two sides in the car business. What I learned there are leaders there are essentially two types of people who are leaders in that business, in any business. One leader will have their team take a bullet for him. The other leader will be killed in friendly fire. Is that something that makes sense?
Is President Biden a leader?
No.
He's a leader.
He's a politician.
He's a leader of the free world.
Yeah, that's how they look at him, I guess. But I would then to most of the country probably will not agree with that notion. But you know,
No, I would. Anyone that disagrees that Biden is the leader is an idiot.
Think
Because
so?
he is the leader. He's just a bad one.
Right.
But he is one.
Well, leader by proxy and by label, yeah.
But he's a leader.
Is he a
So
real?
what makes people a leader? Well, in my opinion, you're a leader if you have influence over another.
I would agree.
Like if you have influence over your children, you're a leader.
Right.
You're the leader of your family.
Yeah.
You have influence over your friends, you're the leader of the pack. You're a manager at work, so you have influence, you're a leader. Doesn't mean you're a good leader,
Right.
but you're a leader
I see what you're saying.
nonetheless.
Yeah.
Now the question is what makes a good leader?
What makes a good? You're asking me.
In your opinion.
In my opinion,
Not that your opinion's like end all be all.
no. It's my viewpoint. My perception is someone who listens well, because leadership. We need to get you a kick on there. I think we have one. Really? Come on.
How about this one?
There we go. A leader is
Is
somebody
that called a kick?
It is a kick. Kick in the joke.
I got.
Ba-da-ksh.
I got.
There's a whole bunch of them.
That's all I got.
I think being a leader is not unlike being in sales. There are good salespeople and bad salespeople. The good ones listen and understand where, the sales is identifying the problem and being the person who could solve the problem. Leadership is the same thing, in my opinion.
In your opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What don't you know?
I don't know, when it comes to the word leadership,
Yeah.
I think it's a big fancy word people use.
It is it is overused.
But like
Like
a
hustle.
commander of the military,
Yeah.
that's a leader. A squad leader is a leader. So
But what makes him good or bad?
well, what makes, I think, a good leader is when you ultimately inspire others to reach their potential
Yeah.
or even beyond it. So like to me, a good leader causes people to become better,
Yeah.
do more.
In a way that is
In
not
any way,
condescending.
any way that they do it.
Yeah. But I mean, you want to have it where it's not exactly a condescending kind of thing where you've had leaders.
Yeah, but usually if you're condescending, bro, you're not gonna get the job done. So if you get someone to reach beyond, to me, that's a good leader, regardless of how you accomplish it. Like, if I worked under a leader that made me 10 times better than I was without him or her, that's a good leader, regardless of how they do it. But 9 times out of 10, you're not going to condescend somebody into doing better.
I would say even a leader is somebody going to want to keep a relationship for a long time. I think about all the different managers that I've worked under over the years in radio, the car business. They're people that have had an influence on my life that I have a desire to have a long relationship with, right? So, I mean, at the end of the day, you look at...
that makes your wife a leader.
What's that?
That makes your wife a leader.
Yeah. Yeah, there's certain elements of life where they do come into...
Who's the leader of your family?
I think we both are.
That's a politically correct statement.
She would totally agree. I can get her on the phone right now.
So let me ask you this, Big Jim McCarthy.
Yes, Brad.
Out of all your years, what do you regret the most?
Not starting sooner.
Starting what?
What I'm doing now. Car business was always something I wanted to try to do. Even here in Vegas, when I worked here, the notion of me going and selling cars did cross my mind because I just was getting fed up with radio. Radio was there for a reason, and obviously I got a good skill set out of it, and it helps me today. But everything was there for a reason in my path to bring me to where I am now. But right now, like we were discussing before, I'm playing catch up financially because radio just doesn't pay well because creatives don't know how to negotiate or sell.
Did you get into real estate ever?
I didn't.
Insurance?
No.
Solar?
Solar, we toyed with the idea. Because
medical?
Of what we do. No.
None of the industries where you make buku dollars.
Yeah. I had a tendency of picking industries that failed or are on the decline.
Why do you think that is?
Well, in my teenage years, I, went and learned a trade, did life the hard way. And after a while, I just wanted to do something that was fun, which was radio, understanding going into it that I wasn't going to get rich off of it. So it was a fun job, especially out here, because we met a lot of people, had a lot of fun things happen, and was privy to a lot of experiences that most people otherwise wouldn't have. So it was a hell of a life up until, the end of radio. But again, it was one of those things looking back on it. Well, if I had learned how to sell like I did in the car business, I think I'd be a lot farther along.
Were you any good?
I think I was. Yeah. I struggled.
You know how you
the
can
first
tell?
3 months. Yeah. How can I tell? How can I tell?
Well, look at your paycheck.
I know.
That's the one thing I like about sales. You know
Meritocracy.
if you're good by looking at your paycheck.
Yeah.
Because if you're no good, your check reflects it.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're good, your check reflects it.
Car salespeople will find every reason to not accept the blame.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, again, some of them, yeah, I'm sure.
There are some people that really sink their teeth into it. In the first couple of months I was into it, I had my one foot out the door. I thought I could do the voiceover thing and all the stuff that I'm doing now then and just go out on my own. So I was contending with that until I decided, no, I'm going to focus on this. As soon as I focused, that's when the paycheck.
You focused.
Thank you.
Dude, you focus on shit, it grows.
It does.
You ignore shit, it dies.
It really does. If you go through a forest and chop at a bunch of different trees and you keep on moving forward through that forest and you look back, what are you going to have? A bunch of half-chopped trees. You got to get the one tree that you keep chopping at until it falls.
Nice. You're wanting a bomb, aren't you?
I don't know, man. You're the arbiter of the bombs. You
That's
make
right.
the decision.
I decide. That wasn't a bomb.
Come on, man.
We got to work a little harder for that. So if I'm listening to this show, I'm thinking, man, so Big Jim McCarthy, he's got a voice. He was in sales. Now he started his own company.
Yeah.
And he wishes he would have started sooner. What's the next thing?
Next thing for me is just keep on focusing on that business.
No, what's the next biggest regret?
Oh, the next biggest regret?
Yeah, because you got some age on you. How old are you?
46.
46 years old. Somebody's listening at 20 years old. They want to go back and say, Jim, what would you tell yourself as a youngster?
Marinate your mind in good stuff.
Explain. Plant
Even going
corn,
back,
get corn.
that's right.
Plant shit, get shit.
My story as an entrepreneur began in 2016. When I got out of the car business in 2015, I took kind of a tangent out of it with another company that had the steady paycheck, quote unquote. And it was a similar situation to another one that I had been before. In between the car business and radio, I actually took a tangent into the collision business. That lasted all of 2.5 months. So in the span of 2 years, I'd gotten fired from 2 jobs. The second time around, I said, this is not going to happen again. So they let me go. Quite honestly, after and they'll hear this and probably think that I'm joking, but that was, they said 1 week how great I was doing. And the next week they brought me in and canned me with 1 paycheck to go. So I have a wife, a house, mortgage, insurance. Did I say insurance or insurance? Anyway. And all the things that come along with having a family with 1 paycheck to go, and that's in the gas tank. So literally on my drive home, I called my wife, listen, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing my own thing, like we talked about back in 2013. She said, well, aren't you going to look for another job? No. Why would I do that? If I look for another job, that's planning to fail. So if I'm looking for a way out with a steady paycheck, that's not what I want to do. I have to move forward and do this thing. So every little thing that I did, I put myself out there in the raw, told everybody what happened, made a video about it. I started doing the Gary Vee thing where I started documenting my days. I called it Daily Entrepreneur. You can still see the videos on there. I did about 4 of them.
Where can you see them?
YouTube. You can look me up and they're right there. It's kind of embarrassing looking back. But again, it's what I did. That first video I did, being as transparent as I was, saying, hey, here's where I am. I just got fired. Here's what I can do for you. Boom, boom, boom. Here's what I'm going to do moving forward. Hit me up if anything comes to surface. Wouldn't you know, I got about 3 or 4 projects off that one video. Just being real. Being real. So I would literally every day go to my wife and say, okay, I've got next week paid for. Okay, now I've got next month paid for. Now I got the month after that paid for. And it was one of those things we kept on building on. But what I did in that particular time, whenever I'd get down, because I was literally going, holy shit, what the hell did I do? I would go out for a walk and listen to podcasts and just marinate my mind in good stuff and follow my own medicine. And that would really lift me out of all that stuff. You're filming me right now, aren't you?
That's right.
Nice. And, eventually we had 3 months paid for. And then we had 6 months paid for, and then we had a year paid for, and it kept on building from there. But I took all the politics out of my life, stopped listening to negative stuff, stopped surrounding myself with people who were bad for me mentally, and just marinated my mind in good stuff, and it just paid off. I would tell myself that at age 20. I got into the conspiracy stuff back in the day. I worked for news radio here in Vegas, so I was immersed in it. Not for me. Not anymore.
I just gave you a post.
Thank you.
Story post.
Awesome.
Dropping bombs with Big Jim McCarthy.
Yeah.
Big Jim McCarthy. If I was
you,
you, I'd go by Big Jim McCarthy.
because I'm big.
You're not that
Working
big,
on- I'm not
actually.
that
What are you, 5'11" or something? 5'10"?
We'll go with that.
So you must mean you're 5'9".
Sure.
So, dude, what's your biggest challenge right now?
My biggest challenge is doing being as regular on social media as I possibly can, being consistent, putting stuff out there. For some reason, I just go in waves.
Why?
I don't know.
You want me to give you some? You want me to give you? Would you say I'm consistent?
Yes. You have a
Okay.
team, though.
Who gives a shit?
I know.
That just means I got money. That's all it means.
Yeah.
You can do the same thing. If you don't have money, you just have to do it yourself.
Absolutely.
I farm shit out that I don't want to do.
I agree. I wish I could do that. I got to get there. But
Well,
I got to do it on my own now.
Well, it's chicken before the egg type
That's
of
true.
thing. Like, dude, you got to be consistent. You got to get your brand built. You got to be consistent. You got to put content out on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you the tips.
Absolutely.
I call it the content flow.
Hit me.
Number 1, you got to figure out what your source is. Your source of content, because you're going to need a lot of it. think about it. Where's your content coming from? If you have to think up your content, you have to create your content. It takes a lot of thought, takes a lot of time. So your source should be basically you being you. So you start getting a camera, filming you talking to your employees, talking to your kids, talking to your wife, talking to anybody and everybody all day long about who you are, what you do, what you're actually talking about. That's you. That's authentically you because it's you being you. So your source is you, right? That's why you see a camera follow me around all the time.
Yeah.
That's why I've got unlimited content. I don't have to make time to create content. I just live, be me, and film it. So that's your source. This podcast is a source of content.
Absolutely.
Right after
Amen.
this, I have Closer School Live. That's a source of content. I also do keynotes. That's a source of content. I also do sometimes coaching. I don't do coaching per se, but I'll do webinars and coach people. You know, again, I don't do programs. So don't blow me up with coaching, but that's a source of content. You know, on occasion, I'm talking to my employees, source of content. So you got to have your source. After you have your source, and you want to make your sources to where it's basically easy because it's just you being you all day. You don't have to separate time. Most people, they'll be like, I got to do something on Monday and make content on Tuesday. And so now it's taking more of your time. If you just be you, what you're doing is your source. Make sense?
Yeah.
Step 2, after your source, now you have to have your creative. Who is making the headline? Who is creating the hashtags? Who is editing the videos? And by the way, pictures, I don't agree with pictures. I think if you have pictures, it's because you don't have any content. So you use pictures. So anytime you see someone with pictures, just hashtag no content left. Right?
Right.
Because a picture of you doing this with a quote, dude, that's not content.
My podcast is a good source.
That's a source.
That's what I pull from.
That's
I
right.
pull a lot of clips.
Yeah, but that's one source, dude. You live after that podcast.
That's true.
Yeah, you're talking, you're arguing, you're selling, you're closing, you're handling heat. All that is real.
Yeah.
That's what you want, bro. Then you need your creative. Okay, so now someone has to edit it. You know, it might took you 10 minutes. You only got 2 or 3. But in some instances, you can use the 10. But the 10 creates micro content from the 10. So that's your creative. Then you have to have your outlet. Where's it going? Well, you literally want to put content on every single channel there is. But the minimum, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook. Oh, YouTube.
Yeah.
That's the minimum.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you can get on Clubhouse, which is the audio app, you know, you can get on Pinterest if you want, but as many as you can is better than none. But the main 6 that you want, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube.
And Breakout
Now for sure. But those Breakout audio, go download the app
That's
now,
right.
folks.
I did.
But
After I heard that episode.
6 main ones.
Yeah.
Okay, that's your outlets. Now, frequency. Each one you have to post at least a certain amount of times. Instagram, 2 times a day minimum. TikTok.
Is that on stories or posts?
Well, stories is not included. You should do stories all throughout the day.
Yeah.
But posts, 2 minimum. I do 4, just so you know, every single day, 7 days a week.
Are you personally doing that from your phone?
Yes.
No.
Okay. I have a team.
Gotcha.
Just Instagram, 28 pieces of content a week.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
But that's why my brand's growing. That's why my fame is growing.
How many downloads per episode are you at now?
On this podcast?
Yeah.
A couple 100,000.
Yeah. Good for you, man.
But again, I do them consistently.
Yeah.
Okay. People, you know, I don't have any guests. Shit, I'll do them myself.
Yeah.
I don't need a guest.
Yeah.
You know, fortunately, I got a lot of guests and a lot of good ones and more showing up. It's like now
they're coming out of the woodwork because of what you've done.
Well, because it was consistent.
Right.
And not only that, but it's also content.
Who's your Christmas present guest that you would love to get on?
Oh, shit. I mean, name them.
I know
Donald Trump.
You and I have been trying to get Vaynerchuk on here.
Fucking Gary V.
Yeah.
Fucking, you know, it was Jordan Peterson, but I got him coming. So
Good.
I got him coming. But, you know, Joe Rogan, Dana White, you know.
Tony Robbins, right? You can get him, right?
Well, if next time he's a busy guy. He's a hard one to get. But You know, at the end of the day, though, it's consistency.
Yeah.
So if you want to build your brand, you can't be up and down, bro.
I know.
So,
I get it.
So let me finish. So now you got your frequency.
Yeah.
That's 2 times on Instagram, at least 3 on YouTube, at least 3 to 5 a day on TikTok, at least once on LinkedIn, and at least once on Twitter. So if you do the math, dude, that's a shit ton of content.
It is.
Well, that's why it's important that you figure out the source. So you're not creating, you're more documenting.
Yeah.
Like Gary Vee says.
He does.
Now that's your frequency. And then the last but not least, eventually, once you get growing, is your boost. That basically means how much money are you putting behind people seeing your content? I haven't boosted yet. I'm going to start boosting in 2022.
Really?
Yeah, this is all my shit's organic. But it's about to be boosted, which means a whole lot more people will see it and hear it. And then because now when they go to my page, they'll see that, oh, this guy's consistent. There's something to follow. A lot of times people don't understand why they're not getting followers. Well, they don't post anything. What the hell are they supposed to follow? I get people that are like, Brad, big fan. Can you follow me? And I look them up and they got fucking 4 posts in 2 years. Like, what's there to follow? You know, or their post is a sandwich. Like, dude.
Yeah.
Post value. Post something.
Well, that's the question. Okay. And I know that's the one thing is that I feel, and this is probably hearkening back to how I used to think of myself back when I was in my 20s, that I haven't really done anything of note yet.
Yeah. That's called imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to pretend to be something I'm not. I mean, I can do a lot of the documentation and speak on what I know.
Period.
Yeah.
Don't worry about
it. That's as authentic as it gets.
Period.
Yeah.
And if someone doesn't like you, fuck them.
Yeah. I'm over that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, then, dude, what are you waiting on?
That's just lazy. It's just, priority, time management.
Excuses.
Totally.
Excuses.
I'm a massive excuse.
Like, where's your camera guy right now?
I don't have one.
Why not?
I got to find one. I've been going to Fiverr to get people to start dicing up my stuff.
That's your creative.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get, I mean, dude, obviously if you're making a little dough, you can invest and make it a little easier on yourself. But literally with an iPhone and a few apps, you can create it all. Everything I'm talking about, you can create it. Sometimes you just upload it to YouTube. Takes you a little time, but guess what? That's how you do it. So everybody listening, I just told you the content flow. That's the secret key. You got your source, you got your creative, you got your outlet, you got your frequency, and you got your boost. If you knock all those out, you do that consistently 3, 4, 5 years, you will be more than likely known.
Oh, yeah.
Of consistency. I got people that said, dude, it took me 2 years of seeing your shit before I started following you.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did. I'm like, 2 years before they started following me.
Yeah.
Consistently posting for 2 straight years. Guess what? That's what it takes, Big Jim.
It does.
So that's, my friend,
my problem.
The bomb. And you just got it. Matter of fact, that was this.
We have completely blown this place up.
I just rapid fired you.
That's
now,
fine.
Normally we'll go a little bit longer, but I got to get ready for Closer School Live.
Thank you for having me on. I really do appreciate it.
Dude, more my pleasure than it was yours.
Oh, thank you.
Now, folks, if you guys ain't following this cat, go to @Jim McCarthy VOS. If you guys need lighting, reach out to Big Dot Lighting. Let him know you're from the Bomb Squad so he knows where you came from. And if you want to start a podcast, hit him up in the DM. If you need a good voiceover, hit him up in the DM. And apparently, if you need a good deal on the Mercedes, he knows some people over at the Mercedes dealership.
Absolutely.
As always, folks, listen, I know this was a shorty, but go out and give myself a rating. Share this out. Other people might need to hear it. Until next time, keep it real.
Dropping bombs with the real Bradley. Subscribe now.